This migrant shelter in Tucson, Arizona is one of 5 in a network in Pima County that has collectively served an estimated 180,000 asylum seekers over the last decade. But these families sleeping on cots could soon find themselves homeless once federal funds for migrant shelters run out at the end of the month. And the Casa Alita's network of shelters says it will soon be forced to halt most operations.
After March 31st, most of our funds are going to go to a cliff.
Susanna Seelig is the associate director for Casa Alitas.
My main concern after March 31st is what is going to happen to those other 960 people per day that are coming through the border. Our daily average is about 1,000 people, but we have had days like in November where we received up to 1,800 people in just one day.
At one of the Casa Alitas shelter sites last week, migrants rested on cots and received meals, clean clothes, toiletries, and assistance planning onward travel. Sarah Vasquez Gonzalez came with her husband and 3 of her 6 children from Chiapas, Mexico, where cartel violence has driven Mexican families to flee to the U.S.
Lo que vivimos allá en Chiapas no es fácil porque
what we experienced in Chiapas was not easy because 2 criminal organizations arrived and we saw shootings. My husband stayed there taking care of our things, and he would just hide behind the doors. My house was completely shot at. My mom lives in another area, and that's where we found refuge.
Pima County estimated 400 to 1,000 migrants with nowhere to stay could start arriving daily in Tucson beginning in April. Jan Lesher, the Pima County administrator, said the county simply cannot afford the roughly $1 million per week that previously would have been covered by federal funds.
$48 million a year is not something that can be easily absorbed into a Pima County budget, particularly in a year where we're all looking at making budget cuts. We refer to it as homelessness on steroids. We're going to take individuals who are already homeless in the community. We have that population who are houselessness, homeless in this area, and adding to that an additional 1,000 people a day.
Funding predicaments similar to Pima County's are playing out in other border regions and faraway cities like New York City, Chicago, and Denver that have received migrants. As in Tucson, local governments anticipate that without federal dollars, communities will face significantly more migrants living on their streets, putting a greater demand on police, hospitals, and sanitation services. Congress faces a Friday deadline to fund the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which pays for migrant services along with other federal agencies. Current money could be temporarily extended as a stopgap measure to keep DHS and other federal agencies running.